The text message arrived at 11:43 p.m. on a Thursday night. I was already settled in bed, scrolling through basketball highlights on my phone, when the screen lit up with a series of messages from my girlfriend Rachel. I can't take this anymore. Your refusal to move forward has destroyed me. I'm at St. Luke's Hospital having a complete breakdown. This is entirely your fault. I needed you to propose, and you just kept putting it off. Now look what you've done to me. My heart sank into my stomach. Rachel and I had been together for 3 years, sharing an apartment for the past year. Yes, we'd recently discussed marriage. She wanted an engagement ring by our anniversary. I wanted to wait until after my promotion at work, maybe another year or so. It seemed like normal relationship negotiation to me. But a mental health emergency because of me. I grabbed yesterday's jeans from the floor and drove like a madman to the hospital. I burst into the emergency room just after midnight, breathing hard, asking for Rachel Morrison. The nurse checked her computer system, then checked again before calling over a colleague. Sir, we don't have any patient by that name. There haven't been any admissions tonight matching that description. Maybe she used a different name, I suggested desperately. She's 29 years old, brunette hair, about 5'6". They were patient but firm with me. Nobody matching that description had come through their doors that night. I called her phone. Straight to voicemail. I texted her best friend Michelle. No response. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot for 20 minutes, completely confused and worried. Then I remembered something. We shared our locations on our phones. She had insisted on setting it up last year for safety reasons. I pulled up the Find My Phone app on my screen. She was 47 miles away at the Riverside Resort and Spa. At midnight. While supposedly having a mental breakdown in a hospital bed. I stared at that little dot on my screen for maybe 10 minutes, my mind racing through possibilities. Then another piece clicked into place. Her coworker Brandon had mentioned taking vacation time this week. Brandon, who she had been mentoring at the office. Brandon, who texted her good morning every single day. I drove home but didn't sleep. At 6 in the morning, I did something I had never done before but felt completely justified in doing. I logged into her laptop. She had saved all her passwords and never bothered changing them after showing me once for troubleshooting. Her credit card statement showed a resort booking. 2 adults, king bed, spa package included. The booking name read Brandon Williams. I probably should have just confronted her right then and there, but something about the text message blaming me for her fake mental health crisis flipped a switch inside me. She wanted to guilt-trip me about commitment while secretly spending romantic weekends with another man. Not happening. I called in sick to work on Friday. I stopped by a flower shop and bought 2 dozen red roses, the expensive premium ones. Then I made another phone call. Hello, Mrs. Morrison. It's Marcus. Listen, Rachel had a really rough night. She's feeling very down about our relationship situation. I was thinking maybe if you and Mr. Morrison came by tomorrow afternoon around 2 o'clock, we could all sit down and talk things through. Yes, at the apartment. I know, I really want to fix this too. See you then. The confrontation. Saturday at 1:30 p.m., I drove to the resort. The place was one of those upscale establishments with a lobby that smells like expensive candles and fresh flowers. I walked up to the front desk holding my roses like the world's most devoted boyfriend. Hi there. I'm surprising my girlfriend, Rachel Morrison. She's here with a friend this weekend. The receptionist smiled warmly at me. I can't give out room information for privacy reasons, but I can call up to the room for you if you'd like. Actually, could you check if they're at the pool area? She absolutely loves swimming. They were at the pool. I found them at the infinity pool overlooking the valley. Rachel in a bikini I had never seen before, straddling Brandon on a lounge chair, kissing him like teenagers at prom. His hands were positioned in ways that were definitely not appropriate for a mentor and student relationship. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, roses clutched in my hand, just watching them. Part of me wanted to rage, throw the flowers at them, make a huge scene. But I didn't do any of that. Instead, I took 3 clear photos with my phone, turned around calmly, and left the resort. I drove home and put the roses in a vase on our dining room table. Rachel's parents showed up at exactly 2 o'clock, right on time. "Where's Rachel?" her mother Linda asked, looking around the empty apartment with concern. "Great question, Linda. She should be arriving any minute now." I made small talk while we waited. I offered them coffee. Her father Richard kept checking his watch nervously. At 2:47 p.m., we all heard Rachel's key turning in the lock. She walked in looking radiant, her hair still damp from the pool. Brandon followed behind her, carrying her weekend bag over his shoulder. They both froze instantly when they saw us. "Mom. Dad. What are you doing here?" Rachel's face went pale. Linda stood up slowly from the couch. "Marcus called us yesterday. He said you were having a serious crisis. He said you were struggling with severe mental health issues because of commitment problems in your relationship." Rachel's face drained of all color. Brandon tried to back toward the door quietly. "And who are you?" Richard asked him directly, his voice steady and cold. "I'm Brandon. I'm from Rachel's office. The coworker she's been mentoring," I added helpfully. "The one who apparently needed so much guidance that you had to book a couple's spa weekend together." Rachel finally found her voice, though it came out shaky. "Marcus, I can explain all of this. Like you explained being in the hospital Thursday night." I pulled out my phone and showed her parents the text message she had sent me. "Like you explained having a complete mental breakdown that was supposedly all my fault." Linda read the text message on my screen, her face getting redder with each line she read. "Rachel Marie Morrison, you told this man you were in a hospital. Mom, you don't understand the situation. While you were actually at a resort with this man." Richard's voice was deadly quiet, which was somehow worse than yelling. Brandon muttered something about needing to leave immediately. Richard stepped directly in front of the door, blocking his path. "Sit down." Brandon sat down on the nearest chair. I pulled up the photos from the pool on my phone and showed them to her parents. "This was taken about an hour ago, while I was at the flower shop buying roses to apologize for supposedly driving her to a mental health crisis." Linda started crying quietly. Richard looked like he might actually have a stroke right there in my living room. Rachel tried desperately to control the damage. "It's not what it looks like at all." "Then what is it?" I asked calmly. "Marcus and I were having serious problems. He wouldn't commit to our future. Brandon was just providing emotional support during a difficult time." "Support?" I asked. "Is that what we're calling it? Because from those photos, he was supporting you with his tongue down your throat." "You were never going to propose to me," she screamed suddenly. 3 years together, Marcus. 3 entire years, and you still wouldn't commit to a future." Brandon went visibly pale in his chair. "Rachel, we talked about this arrangement being casual and fun. No pressure, remember?" She spun on him fast. "What are you talking about? What do you mean casual?" "I mean, you specifically said you just needed to have some fun. No strings attached. That's what you told me." The look of absolute shock on her face was something I will never forget. The realization that her side piece wasn't planning to marry her either. I couldn't help it. I actually laughed out loud. "This is absolutely beautiful to watch. You completely destroyed our 3-year relationship for a guy who thinks you're nothing more than a casual hookup." Her father stood up from the couch, his face hard as stone. "Pack your things right now. You're coming home with us tonight." "Dad, I'm 29 years old. I don't need to." "Pack your things. Now." She looked at me desperately, tears starting to stream down her face. "Marcus, please. We can sit down and talk about all of this. We could have talked on Thursday night," I said quietly. "But instead, you chose manipulation and lies. Get your stuff and leave." The unraveling. While Rachel sobbed her way through packing up her belongings, her mother cornered Brandon in the living room. I stayed to watch. "How long has this been going on?" Linda's voice could have frozen fire. About 2 months now." 2 months. Richard looked ready to physically attack him despite being a 65-year-old accountant facing down a 27-year-old gym regular. "She told you they were basically broken up, didn't she?" She said Marcus was emotionally unavailable. Brandon protested weakly. She said he refused to commit to anything real with her. I laughed again, though there was no humor in it. Emotionally unavailable. I literally scheduled monthly relationship check-ins because she specifically asked me to. I went to her nephew's recorder recital last week. 6-year-olds playing hot cross buns off-key for 45 minutes. Rachel came out dragging 2 large suitcases, mascara running down both cheeks. Where am I even supposed to go now? Home with us, Linda said firmly. While you figure out what's wrong with you and why you think this behavior is acceptable. Mom, you're just automatically taking his side without even hearing my perspective. You lied about being admitted to a hospital. You used mental health as manipulation. You cheated on your boyfriend of 3 years. What side exactly should I be taking here? That's when Rachel did what she always did when cornered and desperate. She went completely nuclear with her words. Fine. You want the real truth. Marcus is boring. He plans every single thing we do. He saves receipts for everything. He wants to wait for the perfect time for every decision. Brandon is spontaneous. He makes me feel actually alive for once. Brandon was slowly inching toward the door during her speech. Yeah, so I should probably just go now. You're not going anywhere. Rachel grabbed his arm hard. Tell them the truth. Tell them how you promised we'd travel the world together. Tell them how you said I deserved so much better than what I had. Brandon looked like a trapped animal. I mean, those were just things people say in the moment. It was contextual. The realization finally hit Rachel like a truck. Her voice came out small. You told me you loved me. In the heat of the moment, yeah. It was just, something to say. I got myself a beer from the refrigerator. This was legitimately better than any television drama I had ever watched. Richard finally spoke up again, his voice still cold and controlled. Brandon, get out of this apartment right now. If I ever see you anywhere near my daughter again, we will have very serious problems. Do you understand me? Brandon practically ran out the door. He didn't even say goodbye to Rachel or look back once. Rachel turned all her anger on me. This is exactly what you wanted, isn't it? To completely humiliate me in front of everyone. No, I said calmly. What I wanted was a girlfriend who didn't fake psychiatric emergencies to manipulate me while sleeping with her coworker behind my back. That's literally all I wanted. She grabbed a decorative vase from the side table, not the one with the roses thankfully, and hurled it at the wall. It shattered into dozens of pieces. That's coming out of your security deposit, I called after her. Linda physically dragged Rachel toward the door while she screamed about me ruining her entire life, about Brandon being her actual soulmate, and about how she deserved so much better than me. Richard paused at the door before leaving, turning back to face me. Marcus, I'm truly sorry about all of this. We didn't raise her to behave like this. I know you didn't, Richard. This isn't on you or Linda at all. After they left, I sat alone in my suddenly very quiet apartment, the roses still sitting on the table, and ordered a large pizza for dinner. Then I did something therapeutic for myself. I went through the belongings she had left behind in her rush to pack, and I found something extremely interesting. Her personal journal, hidden in a drawer. I know. Privacy and boundaries and all that. But she had just completely nuked my entire life, so I figured whatever. The entries went back several months. Complaints about me not proposing filled many pages, but there were also mentions of 5 other men she had been texting and talking to regularly. Brandon was apparently just the only one who actually took the bait and met up with her. She had been actively shopping around for my replacement while simultaneously demanding I commit to her for life. The absolute entitlement was genuinely staggering. One entry from about 3 weeks ago jumped out at me. Marcus will never change his ways. Too safe, too predictable, too boring. I need someone who chooses me immediately and completely. I deserve the fairy tale romance. If he won't give it to me, someone else definitely will. I took photos of every single page with my phone. Evidence, just in case I needed it later. The social media war. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet, looking back on it. Then Monday morning hit me like a freight train to the face. I woke up at 7 a.m. to 73 Instagram notifications flooding my phone. Rachel had posted a series of stories throughout the night. When you give 3 entire years to someone who refuses to commit. #wasted time. Mental health matters, but some people only care about themselves and their own needs. Starting completely fresh. Goodbye to toxic people. #new beginnings. And my personal favorite was a photo of her hand with a band-aid on one finger. The caption read, "Healing from more than just this cut." #recovery. The band-aid was covering absolutely nothing. I knew this for a fact because I had watched her put it on specifically for the photo through our doorbell camera footage. She had come by the apartment at 5 in the morning, thinking I would be asleep and wouldn't notice. By noon, I had messages flooding in from mutual friends. Half of them were telling me I was cruel and heartless for exposing her like that in front of her parents. The other half were sending me screenshots of Brandon's Instagram, where he had posted himself at a nightclub Saturday night with his arm around a completely different woman. His caption read, "Drama-free zone." #blessed. But the real circus truly started when Rachel's mother called me that afternoon. "Marcus, I'm so sorry to bother you with this, but Rachel is now telling everyone that you have explicit photos of her and you're threatening to release them publicly." "What is she talking about?" "Linda, I have never taken any photos like that, and I would never threaten something like that." "I know, sweetheart. I know you wouldn't. But she's telling this story to everyone who will listen. She's claiming that's the real reason she had to leave the apartment so quickly." I was completely done at that point. Absolutely finished with all of it. I called my buddy Tom, who works as a lawyer. "Can I sue someone for defamation? Is that actually a real option here?" Tom listened to everything and then gave me his advice. "You could definitely try, but honestly, just document everything carefully and let her hang herself. People like this always do eventually." So I did something admittedly petty. I posted my own Instagram story. Just a screenshot of the hospital text message and a simple caption underneath it. Thursday 11:43 p.m. versus Friday GPS location. Last time I checked, hospitals don't have infinity pools. #truth. Rachel absolutely exploded. She called me from her mother's phone since I had already blocked her number. "Take that down right now, Marcus." "No. I'll call the police on you. I'll report you for harassment." "Go ahead. I'll show them your journal where you detailed your plan to baby trap me if I didn't propose by Christmas this year." Complete silence on the other end of the line. "Oh yeah," I continued. "I found that particularly interesting entry on page 47. You had researched your ovulation cycle and everything. Very thorough planning. You read my private journal." Her voice was shaking with rage. "You left it behind in my apartment when you moved out. That's legal abandonment of property." She started crying, but these weren't sad tears. These were furious, angry tears. "You've completely ruined everything for me. Brandon won't answer any of my calls or texts. My friends all think I'm psychotic. Even my own parents are disappointed in me. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. I hate you so much. You were supposed to fight for me and for our relationship." "Fight for you how, exactly?" "You were supposed to chase after me when I left. You were supposed to realize what you were losing and try to win me back." There it was. The actual truth finally coming out. "You wanted me to chase you while you were actively sleeping with Brandon at a resort. You were supposed to realize what you were about to lose forever." "I did realize that," I said calmly. "I realized I was losing a manipulative liar. And I'm completely good with that loss." She hung up on me. Tuesday morning, I got a call from human resources at my company. Rachel had apparently called them claiming I was creating a hostile work environment for her, even though she doesn't even work at my company. They were confused but said they had to follow protocol and investigate any claims. I explained the situation briefly and professionally. They closed the case immediately and apologized for bothering me. Wednesday, she tried a completely new tactic. She had her best friend Michelle text me. "Marcus, Rachel is really struggling badly. She's been prescribed antidepressant medication by her doctor. This whole situation has genuinely traumatized her." "Good," I replied. Maybe therapy will help her understand that faking hospital stays and emergency situations is morally wrong. Wow, you really are completely heartless, aren't you? No, just done with the manipulation games. Also, you should ask her why she told Brandon she was on birth control when she actually wasn't. What are you talking about? Check page 52 of her journal. She was actively trying to get pregnant by whoever proposed to her first, whether that was me or one of her other options. Michelle didn't respond to that message, but I saw her Instagram story later that evening. When you realize your best friend isn't who you thought they were. Distance needed. #growth. Thursday morning at 6 a.m., my doorbell rang. It was Richard, Rachel's father. Marcus, I'm sorry to bother you so early. Can we talk for a few minutes? I let him inside and made us both coffee. I need to know something, he said quietly. Was she always like this? This manipulative and dishonest? I thought about lying to him, about softening the truth to make him feel better. But he deserved to know reality. The red flags were definitely there, Richard. I just chose to ignore them for a long time. The small lies here and there. The guilt trips when I didn't do exactly what she wanted. The way she would punish me with days of complete silence if I disagreed with her about anything. I kept telling myself it was just normal relationship stuff that all couples deal with. He nodded sadly, staring into his coffee mug. Linda and I enabled this behavior. We always made excuses for her. She's just sensitive. She's passionate. She feels things deeply. We failed her by not holding her accountable. You loved your daughter. That's not failure. He left after giving me an awkward dad hug at the door. The legal battle. Friday was supposed to be peaceful and quiet. I had taken the day off work to deep clean the entire apartment and remove all remaining traces of Rachel's presence. I had music playing, windows open wide, and I was actually feeling pretty good about everything. Then my doorbell rang at 2 in the afternoon. It was Brandon, sporting a massive black eye. Dude, we seriously need to talk right now. Against every instinct of my better judgment, I let him into my apartment. Nice black eye, I observed. Let me guess. Rachel. Her father, actually. Richard showed up at my gym yesterday morning. I didn't think a 65-year-old accountant could throw hands like that, but I was very wrong. I actually laughed out loud. Richard threw actual punches. That's legendary. Look, Marcus, I'm genuinely sorry about everything that happened. But I need to warn you about something important. Rachel is planning something bad. Meaning what exactly? She called me drunk last night, rambling about how she's going to make you pay for everything. She kept saying she knows exactly how to get what she deserves from you. She mentioned something about your apartment lease and having copies of important documents. She also said she's been in contact with someone named Gerald. Gerald is my landlord. Brandon continued, looking genuinely worried. She also mentioned she still has a key to your apartment. She said she made a copy of your new key about 3 weeks ago when you were sleeping. My blood ran cold. 3 weeks ago, she had been extra affectionate one night out of nowhere. I had given her my keys the next morning so she could grab us breakfast while I slept in late. Why are you telling me all this? I asked suspiciously. Brandon shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Because what she's doing is genuinely crazy, and she's telling people that I forced myself on her. That I pursued her aggressively and she was just vulnerable. That's not true at all, man. She came after me hard from day one. I've got text messages to prove everything. I checked my security app immediately on my phone. No unusual activity showed up, but I went out that same afternoon and changed my locks again. Electronic smart locks this time. No physical keys that could be copied. Saturday morning, I woke up to an email from my landlord Gerald. Marcus, I've received some very concerning information about unauthorized occupants in your unit and potential lease violations. We need to discuss this matter immediately. I called him right away. Gerald, what's going on? Your ex-girlfriend contacted me yesterday. She claims she's been living in that apartment for 2 full years, that she has established tenant rights, and that you illegally evicted her without proper notice. She was never on the lease, Gerald. She moved in about a year ago informally, and she left completely voluntarily last week. She provided me with documents showing she receives mail at that address and has been paying partial rent every month. She's never paid a single dollar in rent. I have all my bank records to prove that. She showed me Venmo transactions between you two. I pulled up my Venmo app history immediately. She had been sending me $50 monthly with the note "Utilities" in the description. Meanwhile, I had been sending her $400 monthly labeled "Spending Money" so she could buy whatever she wanted. Gerald, she was sending me $50 a month for utilities while I was giving her $400 a month as an allowance. She's trying to establish fake tenancy with completely fraudulent claims. He sighed heavily on the phone. Please provide me with all your documentation as soon as possible. This is turning into a real mess. I spent that entire day gathering everything I could find. Bank statements going back years. The original lease agreement with only my name on it. Text messages between us. Then I found something particularly interesting while going through old mail. She had been having mail sent to my address for things I knew absolutely nothing about. Credit card applications. Magazine subscriptions. Even a parking ticket from 2 months ago that I never knew existed. She had been systematically building a paper trail to establish residency. I called Tom again, my lawyer friend. Tom, this situation is getting significantly worse. I reviewed everything with him over the phone for an hour. His final verdict was clear. She's attempting multiple forms of fraud, but thankfully she's very sloppy about it. Keep documenting absolutely everything. If she tries to physically enter your apartment, call the police immediately without hesitation. Sunday night at 11 p.m., I got a motion alert from my Ring doorbell camera. I pulled up the app on my phone and saw Rachel standing at my door with some guy I didn't recognize. He was carrying what looked like tools. I called 911 immediately. Someone is trying to break into my apartment right now. I watched on my phone screen as they worked on trying to bypass the door lock. The electronic lock held firm against their attempts. Police arrived in 8 minutes. The guy with tools ran the second he saw the police cruiser pull up. Rachel tried to play everything off as cool and casual. Officers, thank goodness you're here. I live in this apartment, and I just got locked out somehow. Ma'am, the resident of this apartment called us. He says you don't live here anymore. He's my boyfriend. We just had a fight earlier, and I stepped outside to cool down. Ex-girlfriend, I said, stepping out into the hallway. She moved out over a week ago. She has absolutely no legal right to be here. I showed the officers the text messages about the fake hospital stay. I showed them the lease with only my name on it. I gave them her parents' contact information, and they confirmed she had been living with them for the past week. They arrested her for attempted breaking and entering. The aftermath. Rachel spent Sunday night in a jail cell. Linda called me early Monday morning, her voice thick from crying. Marcus, I am so incredibly sorry. We had no idea she would go this far with everything. Is she okay? She's shaken up badly. We're bailing her out this morning. Richard is absolutely furious with her. We're getting her into real professional help this time. Real therapy, not just talking to friends. The chaos wasn't over yet, though. Tuesday afternoon, I got served with legal papers at my apartment. She was suing me. The lawsuit claimed illegal eviction, severe emotional distress, defamation of character, and theft of personal property. Her evidence of theft. Apparently I had kept her toothbrush when she moved out. She was also claiming lost wages from missing work due to the trauma I had supposedly caused her. The amount she was demanding. $50,000. Tom looked at the lawsuit papers and actually laughed out loud when he read through them. This document is essentially toilet paper. Her attorney must be absolutely desperate for billable hours. The court date was set for 3 weeks out. I wasn't worried anymore at that point. I was just exhausted and tired of everything. Those 3 weeks leading up to court were absolute hell. Rachel went completely scorched earth on every social media platform. Daily posts about surviving narcissistic abuse. She started an entire blog called Dating a Sociopath, My True Story. She created TikTok videos about red flags in men, where she would describe things like, he keeps receipts for everything, and he won't commit after years of stringing you along. The comments section wasn't going the way she expected, though. People were calling her out constantly. Girl, didn't you fake being in a hospital? Weren't you the one who cheated though? Why were you breaking into his apartment? She would delete comments and block people, but screenshots spread everywhere. Brandon even commented once on one of her videos. This is complete fiction. You pursued me aggressively while living with him. I have receipts and text messages. She deleted that entire video within minutes. Court day finally arrived. I showed up in my best suit with Tom beside me, carrying a folder of evidence that was 2 inches thick. Rachel showed up wearing a neck brace. An actual neck brace, like she'd been in a car accident. Her lawyer opened with dramatic claims that I had physically removed her from the apartment against her will. The judge asked for evidence to support this claim. My client's emotional testimony, Your Honor. Physical evidence, counselor. Do you have any? They had absolutely nothing. I presented text messages clearly showing she left voluntarily. Her parents' sworn statements confirming she had moved back home with them. The hospital lie in text form. Ring doorbell footage of her attempted break-in. Her journal entries about trying to baby trap someone. Brandon's written statement that she had pursued him. Bank records proving she never paid rent. The police report from her arrest. The judge stopped us after about an hour of this. Miss Morrison, did you fake a psychiatric emergency? I was emotionally distressed at the time, Your Honor. Yes or no, please. Yes, but I was. Did you attempt to break into Mr. Peterson's apartment after you had moved out? I still had personal property inside that belonged to me. Did you attempt to break in? Yes or no? Yes. The judge's gavel came down hard. Case dismissed. Miss Morrison, you're fortunate that Mr. Peterson isn't filing a countersuit against you. I strongly suggest you leave him alone permanently from this point forward. Rachel's lawyer whispered frantically to her, trying to get her to sit down and be quiet. Instead, she stood up suddenly. Your Honor, what about my emotional damages? What about everything he put me through? The judge looked at her over the top of his reading glasses. You mean the damages that resulted from the direct consequences of your own actions? Counselor, please control your client. Outside the courthouse afterward, Rachel had her final complete meltdown. Full-volume public screaming for everyone to hear. You completely ruined my entire life. I gave you 3 years of my life. You gave Brandon 2 months while we were still together, I reminded her calmly. I deserved better than you. I deserved someone who would actually fight for me. You got someone who fought against your lies and manipulation. That's what you deserved. Her parents literally had to carry her to their car, one on each side. Linda mouthed, "I'm sorry," to me through the car window as they drove away. That was 6 weeks ago now. Last I heard through mutual friends, she's still living with her parents. Brandon filed a restraining order after she showed up at his apartment building multiple times. She got fired from her job after missing too many days without proper documentation. She started dating some guy she met on a dating app, but he ghosted her completely after Googling her name and finding everything online. She's currently in therapy, court-mandated from the breaking and entering arrest. As for me, I'm doing genuinely okay. My apartment is peaceful and quiet. I started dating someone new recently. I met her at a bookstore in the romance section. She thinks my habit of keeping receipts is endearing and organized. I told her the complete Rachel story on our 3rd date, figuring honesty was important. She said, "Wow, sounds like you dodged a massive bullet there. I got promoted at work last month. Apparently, not having daily relationship drama significantly improved my job performance." Who knew? Sometimes I think about those 3 years we spent together. I wonder if I missed obvious warning signs, or if she hid them exceptionally well. My therapist, yeah, I got 1-2 after everything, says it doesn't really matter anymore. What matters is that I recognized the disrespect when it became undeniable and acted accordingly to protect myself. I still have those roses, though. I dried them carefully and framed them. They hang in my bathroom now with a small plaque underneath that reads, "Trust Your Gut, 2024. It's a daily reminder that when someone shows you who they truly are, you should believe them the first time. And when they fake a psychiatric emergency to manipulate you emotionally, you should run. Run fast, run far, and definitely change your locks to the electronic kind. Last week, I got a Venmo request from Rachel. $3,000. The note said, "For therapy bills you caused me to need." I declined the request and sent her exactly 1 cent back. My note said, "For the hospital visit that never actually happened." She finally blocked me after that. Peace at last.